video, I will show you one more element about the short story. As I already told you in the previous videos, the elements of a short story are the setting, the character, the plot, the conflict, the theme, the point of view, the tone, and the style. And in this particular video, we're going to talk about the plot. So, as a general description, the plot is the sequence of events that happen in the whole story, finding in an introduction, a rise in action, the climax, a fall in action, and a resolution. So, mainly we can identify these parts: the introduction, the rise in action, climax, fall in action, and the resolution. So it is normal that we got a kind of a scheme or kind of a diagram that we can realize the plot in a story. For example, the resolution could be an horizontal line. Then we got a rise in action. Then we got the climax. Then we got a fall in action and the resolution. So if we try to put or to set in a graphic all the plot of a story, we can show it as it goes: introduction, then the rise in action, then the climax, then the fall in action, and at the end the resolution. So by definition we could say that the plot is a sequence of events. So we can have here a timeline, okay, and we can start setting different kind of events across this timeline in order to show up the whole story. So it is important that all the events get a sequence in order to make sense with the story. And normally the event that we're talking got a strong relationship or is a consequence of the previous one, then the next one of the previous one. But we could have some situation that maybe two events are a consequence of the same. So they're not one after the other. Maybe it could be two events after one, or three or more events after one previous. Now, according to our examples, we can talk about this guy. Do you remember? We were talking about Harry Potter. And we can realize in this sequence of pictures a kind of an evolution of the character from the first movie up to the last one. And we could realize a timeline that specifically, and in the voice of the author, she described that it was one single year in each book, in each novel, from the period from 1991 from 1998 in Harry's life. So the first book is 1 year of the character. Then the second book is the other year of the character. And so on. We can keep going with the third and the fourth year and the following years up to that period of time. So it is important that you realize that every single year goes right after the previous one. I mean, the author could have some flashbacks and could start jumping through the story, as we're going to see in the following example. But at the end of the story, and besides the flashbacks, the story keeps leading in the same way as the timeline goes by. Then we got another example. Do you remember? We talk about Sherlock Holmes. Okay. And well, here is an evolution of the character according to the actor that has represented Sherlock Holmes during all the movies. But we need to talk about Sherlock Holmes as a specific story. Remember that got several books. So talking about one of the books, for example, I don't know, the Scarlet Letter or something like that, we could have the same evolution of the plot with the introduction, with the rise in action, with the climax, with the fall in action, and with the conclusion in each single story that Sherlock Holmes participate. Maybe these two, I mean, talking about the characters, maybe these two of the characters are the most famous because they are the actual ones, and the most, I don't know how to say it, maybe the most actual, that's the word, the most actual ones of the whole personifications of Sherlock Holmes, but all of them repeat certain stories because remember that these are different representation of the same character according to the same books. Now, as a last example, if you remember the previous videos, we talk about The Godfather. And here we have some images that shows up the evolution of Al Pacino's character, that is Michael Corleone. And we could realize that in this picture, she is the Godfather number 1. And this one is in Godfather number 2. And in this one is in Godfather number 3. So the plot says that as a following consequence or sequence of events in this first movie, I mean, Michael Corleone became the godfather of the entire Corleone's family after Vito's Corleone, his father, passed away. Then in this time, they are still in New York. Now, in the second one, they go to Nevada and they try to change all the business of the family. First of all, they were just with olive oil and some gambling business. And in the Nevada period, they go through the casinos and they go through the hotels business. Then after that, in Godfather number 3, they try to work out with real estate business. Okay, with real estate. And it's obvious and evident that the evolution takes changes into the character because of time. So here we can see a very young Michael Corleone. Then here is a little bit more mature. And here we got an old Michael Corleone that reflects what, as I told you, the timeline of the sequence of events that happens through the 3 movies and specifically through the whole story of The Godfather. So again, the plot. We need to remember that the plot is the sequence of events that happen in the whole story, finding in it an introduction, a rise in action, the climax, a fall in action, and a resolution. It's very important to cover all those parts of the plot in order to have it complete and to give, as a writer, a full story to the reader, understandable and clear. Thank you very much and see you in the next video.